The way I see collaboration is that I'm going to do a product that I couldn't do without them. Otherwise, there's no point.
Straight out of school, went to Balenciaga. Talk to me a little about that moment.
But in my mind, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get the job. So I went to the interview, but it's not for me anyway because I'm not cool enough. So I was like, I'm not going to have the job. It's fine. When the twins arrived, I installed some rules in my life that I didn't have before. The twins really helped me structure my working life. So it didn't really stop me from working less or differently, but probably in a better quality.
Charlotte began her career in the world of fashion, working under the famed designer Nicolas Ghesquière during his time at Balenciaga. But it was in launching her namesake label in 2015 that she truly came into her own, with collections that blur the line between accessory and art object. Charlotte continues to expand her universe, inviting more women and men to embracing intentional adornment.
Your visual aesthetic, it was so strong right from the beginning. How did that come about? Did you really work at?
Never worked. It's so easy to tell the truth when you tell your story.
There are definitely other brands that came out that had a whiff of your style. How did you deal with that?
It drives me crazy, but at the same time, always moving forward.
Charlotte, thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Well, listen, I'm doubly excited because we are celebrating 10 years of your brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are a lot of anniversaries out there, but I feel like 10 years is particularly eventful or poignant to a certain extent. Have you been looking back, looking forward? What has it been to mark this occasion? Have you been able to recognize your success?
Yes, I mean, it's 10 years of my brand. It's 10 years of my son. It's my 40th birthday this year. So it's a very special year. And it's like also like 2025. So yeah, I'm a bit like, okay, kind of an alignment. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it went really fast. And at the same time, so many things happen. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I was at the Enterprise like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, oh my God, I won the Enterprise 10 years ago. And I was there like 9 months pregnant with the heat wave, exactly in the same situation. But I didn't even think about it when I was going there. And then when I was there, I realized, oh my God, 10 years, it went so fast. So yeah, of course, we are super happy and very proud. It's been such an adventure. Mm-hmm. I would never guess it would bring me to so many different stories and countries, and yeah, it's quite rewarding.
Mm. I was there. Met you the first time at the Enterprise when you were about to give birth. Like, everyone was like worried for you.
Yeah, because it was really, really hot, and I had to hide my body because it was full of water and everything, and everybody was like, oh my God, you're not too hot. And I was like, yes, I am.
But I remember there are two things I remember. You being very, very, very pregnant, but also your smile was just about as big as you were. You were radiantly happy. That was a transform. You had just launched your company. You won right away. Like, mm-hmm. Talk to me about, did that transform everything for you, or?
So it's kind of, I launched my company in March 2015, mm-hmm. Pregnant of 6 months. So I showed my first collection there. And it's true that Andam contacted me and they were like, we would love you to apply, place your brand and everything. And I was like, it's just the first year. Mm-hmm. I just launched and I'm pregnant. So maybe I won't be able to attend and da. And they were like, no, but please, can you consider it? So it was funny because they contacted me. I didn't even thought about applying. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly, I launched my brand in March. First day of the showroom, Sarah Andelman, at that time, she still had Colette. She was my first meeting and she was like, of course I'm buying and of course I'm supporting you. And style.com, you remember?
Yes.
Second appointment, they're like covering the full picture and on the homepage of the website the day after. Mm-hmm. So it was so many things happening in very few months. And then Festival Cannes era happened. And my friend Michault, she wore so many jewelry. So suddenly in 6 months, it was so like a roller coaster and ending new,
kicking things off in a way.
Exactly. It was like the Enterprise. And then my son arrived like 3 days later. So
3 days later?
Yeah. So super, super, super intense. So it's kind of a big amazing cocktail when I look back at the 6 months, but kind of hard for me to really point like what happened first, what influenced this and this and this, because it's kind of an amazing shaker.
All the same thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, from one mother of three to another mother of three, the fact that you decided to launch your own brand, and then I think in quick succession had 3 boys and are an upstart company with a style of jewelry, honestly, that was really unique and separated from the styles that were going on at the time. Are you crazy? Like, I mean, that just seems almost insane to me to do all of that at the same time. And what has maybe motherhood impacted your work life, or has your work life impacted motherhood? Like, what has that, it's all a 360, it's all included, but I'm really curious to hear what that was like for you, because that's intense.
That's intense. I didn't really realize at that time. And I think, I don't know, maybe if I had known, I don't know if I would have done it this way, but you don't know, you're a bit naive. And my character is very like a volunteer. So I'm always moving forward and not really overthinking of very spontaneous. It was a big, like I say, it was a lot of things happening at the same time. Probably a bit of craziness as well, for sure. But I didn't really realize that I was launching a brand. It was more a very special project for me because I was still working for other brands at that time. And actually, I'm still doing today. For me, it was more like, this is my personal project. I really want to express myself with this small sculpture. I needed to do it. But at the same time, I will continue working for other brands. So this is going to be my job, actually. Also being a mother, I think really structured me. My first son, I guess, I don't know how you feel, but after 1 year being a mom, it's like revolutionary, of course. But after 1 year, if you're lucky enough to have a good partner and everything, the pattern that you install is actually okay. Like you have 2 adults and 1 kid, so you're majority adult. Yeah. So you're like, take care of him for 1 hour, and I take care of him for 1 hour, and it was kind of okay after 1 year. And then the twins arrive, and then this was like, okay, now we are in minority. There are 3 of them.
You're outnumbered.
We are outnumbered, and they're like still very young. And I really remember in my head switching and saying like, okay, I was already quite really organized, but I was like, I need to change it. I need to like become a Stakhanovitz, like, and I remember my life when the twins arrive, being like, okay, I'm with them from like 7 to 9, and 9 to 7 at night I'm working, and this I need to have an amazing person who take care of them that day, and then back at home I'm not working anymore, and I install some rules in my life that I didn't have so much before, and it's true that to have the twins really helped me structure my working life. So it didn't really stop me from working less or differently, but probably in a better quality.
Okay, more intense, more intentional.
Yeah.
One of the things you just said while you were telling me your answer, you said, I had to do it. You said, I'm doing all of these other things, but I had to do this jewelry line. Tell me more about that.
It's funny. I never wished to have my brand. I never wished to have my name on the label. It was never something I had in mind, and I never thought about it before launching actually my brand. But it's funny, I didn't even know what name I will give to the brand. I remember meeting with Lucien, my friend, Lucien Pages, my PR today, and I was like, so everything is ready. We have the prototype, we have the picture, and we don't have the name. Like, what name can I give? And he was laughing so much, and he was like,
and he's got the best laugh.
He was like, it's your name. Come on. Why you want to give another name? Like, I don't know, Bloom or Flower or whatever. Are you crazy? And I was like, no, maybe I thought it's cool to have a name. And he was like, no, it's going to be you. You have to be the face of your brand. So it was really not something that I had in mind before. But it's true that after working for Nicolas Ghesquière, which was a very, very creative era for almost 10 years, and then working for other brands for 2 years as a freelance designer, I learned a lot working for other brands, working for other customer, other pattern of working. But creatively speaking, I was a bit frustrated, to be honest. And I remember complaining about like, it's not the same. And Nicolas has left. At that time, he did a kind of a break in between Balenciaga and Vuitton. And I was like, there's nobody else complaining. And my friend were like, well, just do your own thing, just explore. And I started to explore, and this is how I was like, oh, okay, I need to do it. It's rewinding. I don't know. I really thought that I was discovering jewelry. I remember working with Nicolas. It was like speaking my mother tongue. And I realized that doing accessory or ready to wear that I was doing at the time and I still do today is still something I'm very comfortable with, but it's more my second language.
Oh, so fashion now is your second, because let's take a step back, because you straight out of school went to Balenciaga with Nicolas, right? The dream scenario for most people.
Dream.
Anybody who's watching this once or listening to this, it's like, how did she land? What was her secret? What happened? Talk to me a little about that moment.
I mean, yes, I remember being at Studio Berceau, so it's a fashion school that I did in Paris, and the headmaster of Studio Berceau, Marie Ruki, she's such a character, and she was like, "Listen, Charlotte, previous student from Studio Berceau is now working at Balenciaga. He's looking for a young designer, and I'm gonna send you and you, like 2 other friends of mine, to do the interview because I believe you could match." And I was like, what, me? I'm like, no, it's such an amazing brand, so cool and so edgy. I mean, not telling her no, but in my mind, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get the job.
Yeah.
And so I went to the interview, stress, but also like, it's nice to do the experience, but it's not for me anyway because I'm not cool enough. So I was like, I'm not going to have the job. It's fine. But I'm just doing it.
So you went in relaxed because you're like, there's no way I'm going to get this.
Stress and relaxed.
Yes,
but in my mind, I would never had the job. And also I knew the 2 other person who would applying. So I was like, for sure, they're going to take this girl. They're like so much cooler. And I got the job. And I knew after that I did an internship with Vincent Darré before, who was head of creation at Ungaro, Emmanuel Ungaro. And after that, I knew that Nicolas had kind of a really nice feeling for Vincent. And that he thought that, this girl has been working with Vincent for 6 months, so probably she's a good,
we get along,
we get along together. So I knew that afterwards, that this internship with Vincent and the fact that I had a connection with him, it's not really a piston, I don't know how you say in English, it's not really
it's not nepotism, or it's not like I can't think of what piston is in English. I'm like losing.
But it's not really that Vincent didn't call or anything.
He didn't lay the groundwork for you.
But it's just, I guess that my very, very short CV at that time was this internship with Vincent, and probably I think it helped because there is like as a character at that time, he was the dandy Parisian, very chic, and probably Vincent was like, I'm curious to see. So this is how I guess I got the job.
I mean, and you got the job. I mean, Nicolas is still, hugely creative and always inventive and thinks about fashion in a way that is unique and doesn't feel referential to anything else that's going on in the world. But honestly, the time in Balenciaga, that decade at Balenciaga, was like fire. What was it like on the inside for that? Because I also know while you were there, he's like, let's launch jewelry and you're going to do it. And that's kind of where things started for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, very intense. Very, very intense. Also intense of work. Like looking back, I was very young, full of energy, hopefully, even more than today. But long day of working, long evening of working, long weekend of working. Super happy that this happened to me. Very grateful. I learned so much. Creatively speaking, it was a reboot every season. Like we learn a lot. We go until the edge of, I don't know, a special technique. And then 6 months later, we just reboot and we start another exploration. So it was so rich, so rich. And Nicolas never take anything for granted. So always looking for new embroidery, new fabric, new shape, searching constantly. And I learned a lot. I think it also shaped my way of creativity. The way I create my collection today has been shaped by this era, for sure.
How has it been shaped? What is your creative process?
Well, I remember working there that when they asked me to work on some jewelry, I didn't really know how to sketch them because I didn't have the academic knowledge. So I was like, I need to find another way. So I started to mold them with my hand because this is how we do the clothes at Balenciaga. We do lots of mock-up, lots of research for a piping, for a shoulder. We work a lot with the atelier, like the designer and the atelier, they're really like this. So I was like, I'm going to do the same. So I start to do some shapes with my hands, working very closely with like an atelier outside of the company because we didn't have like the craftsmanship in the company. And same, I met amazing people who taught me a lot. And also the fact that I didn't know how to sketch what I want. And so I was searching in 3D. I think opened so many doors. And I ended up by doing things with my hands that I would have never done by sketching properly. So it became kind of a language. And it was the base of my brand. I didn't know at that time, but it's true that I look at my archive from Balenciaga recently and I realized that it's such a strong base of my brand today.
Talking about your brand, one of the things that stood out to me when you launched was that your visual aesthetic, this kind of, sun-kissed nature, it was so strong right from the beginning, the visual. How did that come about? Because some people can really struggle to find themselves in terms of how they want to present themselves to the world. And yet with yours, it felt almost like from the jump, very clear about the narrative that you wanted to give to the world. How did that come about? Was it just innate? Did you really work at the storytelling that you wanted to put out there? If you like this conversation, well, then you clearly have got good taste. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and share the love. Because honestly, who wouldn't want a front row seat to fashion's best stories?
Never worked. Everything was like instinctive. A mix of instinct and spontaneity. And I think it's such a personal project that I was like, it's so easy to tell the truth when you tell your story. You don't have to learn a role. You don't have to play a role. So I was like, I'm just going to follow, my heart, my brain. I remember when I was doing the first picture, I was a model.
Yes, I remember.
I was a model because I remember booking a hand model because she has amazing hand, but she didn't have pierced here. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do it then. And everything was a bit like non-organized in a way that things happen, like me being the model of my brand for a few years, still sometimes. And the aesthetic was also like, I really wanted to do some timeless pieces. And I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, if I want something quite timeless, don't put too many clothes because then it's going to give a vibe, like unless you have just a white tank top or something. But then I was like, because it's all about the shape and how it's interacting with the body, I would do something very pure. So without even thinking about it, I was like not putting clothes on the model, like not to do nudity picture, but because it's very close up. But I was like, I really wanted a very sharp and clean image. So it was very instinctive. And very early in the brand also, I worked with some friends who are doing it as a job and also advising me. But we never really sit and plan. The first 5 years of the company was very, very organic. And we were navigating, just looking at what's happening tomorrow.
Do you worry about losing touch with that sense of organic or do you like having the structure now at 10 years in?
I think both are important. I always say that it's important to structure. It's super important. And maybe we have waited too much to do it. I don't know. I mean, it's too late now. But I realized the father of my kids, my boyfriend, I never know how to say mon amoureux, like we're not married. So
my lover.
I never say my husband because we're not married. But anyway, he quit his job and joined the company 5 years ago. And he's coming from finance. So when he arrived, he structured the company by, department and everything. And this was really needed. But at the same time, what I like also as a young brand and not so organized is that you're very agile. So I think you should find a good balance between being organized and because it's helping so much at so many different levels, but also keep your agility. So it's just finding the good balance.
Good balance. Okay. Well, now that you've spilled the beans about the man in your life working with you,
yes,
what is that like? Is that a pleasure? And I mean, or are you at home and you're at the coffee and you're already talking about work, or are you able to like separate those two?
We try to separate. Okay. We try to separate because the days are so intense that sometimes I'm coming back home and we just look at each other in the staircase and we're like, tonight we don't work together. Okay. We just, and then we never cross the limit. Of course, sometimes there are so many subjects that we're going to talk about and the kids also, they know, we speak about the people at the office and the project, and they're all involved in this. They know about it, of course. I mean, it's
all of the office drama.
Yeah. And no, the drama, and sometimes not the drama, but like now we're working on opening a store in Japan, so the kids are aware of this, of course. But we try. We are quite good at make a break at night and during the weekend still. Of course, it never happens that we don't talk about it at all.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm like, okay, no, I need to.
Sometimes
I
it's
really
just-
need to unplug my brain.
Yeah, it's just Netflix and chill and just relax. Okay. 3 sons. Any of them you feel are curious about what you do or interested? Do you see that they're following your path or your...
Yeah, I have 2. I mean, the older one is very creative. Is really keen on drawing and molding and sculpture and everything. So he's very interested. The second one of the twin is more about like, he's a bit bossy. So he's like, yeah, mommy, when you die, can I have your store? I got this last week. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then he said, yeah, but we agree that everything in the store belongs to me, right? When you die. And I was like, whoa. So
let's write it down. Let's sign it.
And the other one doesn't care, but is more in this world. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Recently, I mean, I know you did fine jewelry with diamond, like Strumizer or Bespoke back in the day, but you recently did a whole launch where...
Yes.
And I love some of the shapes look like hearts when you've pivoted. It's so delicate. So what was the decision to maybe go more into this fine? Or am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, for the story, when I launched my brand, I was very like, as it was such a non-planned project, I did my shape, I did my prototype in brass because this is what I was doing when I was working in fashion. And then I tried to find a way to produce this prototype, and I went to different factory, different atelier, wanted to produce them in gold. And at that time, I remember like, it's going to cost this. And I was like, oh, really? Gold is so expensive. I didn't know about that.
Back in the day, today.
And it was not that expensive, of course. But then I was like, maybe I can afford it. Maybe, I don't know, it's such a project on the side. Maybe I'm just going to do vermeil and silver. This is how I started doing vermeil and silver because A, it was something I could afford. And B, also, I really wanted the jewelry to be worn. So by my friend, by my family. So I was like, I think it's going to be okay, like 500, 600 euro pieces. It's not going to be too crazy.
I mean, this is, just to interrupt, this is one of the things that I loved about it, that it is inclusive in that way, that I can afford a piece and then that, at a an attainable price point for, most people. And then you also have these fine pieces. But I thought that was such a thoughtful gesture to a certain extent, but I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem. But very early, it's true that very early in the brand, I also was like very into gold and maybe make even more essential pieces in a way, like pieces you never take off. But then the price of gold is such a thing. And also launching a brand is already like, okay, I need to focus. I have this message to deliver. So we did for the past 10 years, we did a lot of projects in gold with stone, like colored stone, diamond and everything. Most of them were one-of-a-kind projects that customer came and asked for. We did few drop when we opened the store in Alger, for example, Rue d'Alger. We did a drop of special pieces, like more 5, 6 to celebrate. We never really sit and say like, okay, we need to, what's going to be the fine line of Charlotte Chesnais, like how you're going to say, all this discussion that I never had when I launched the brand. Actually, we had those for the fine jewelry because we were like, where do we want to sit next to? And how much is it going to cost? And where do you produce also? And how do you produce? What gold? 9, 14, 18. All this discussion we had to had them and to answer those questions. So 2-3 years ago, it was kind of evident, like we wanted to move forward into fine. But it took us time to really make sure that we were well positioned. And also me regarding the design, it was a bit more stressful because when you launch a brand, nobody waits for you. So you're very spontaneous, like I said. 10 years later, you have to keep this spontaneity. But of course, you have all this like back that you hold.
Yeah. The history. Yeah, the codes. Speaking of codes, one of the things when you first starting out, and again, there was more attainable jewelry that you could wear every day, that I wear every day. And it's honestly, hand to God, the one I get the most compliments on whenever I wear your pieces are the pieces be like, what's that? Who's that? The people ask about it. So of course, there are definitely other brands that came out that had things that kind of had a whiff of your style. How did you deal with that? Do you just keep going forward or how do you... Boof?
Yeah, I mean, drives me crazy. I remember that my brand my collection, my first collection, was out somewhere in China before on them price. So before I deliver my first customer, just because of like picture on like internet and beginning of Instagram, I had my first like copying case very, very early in the brand. But this was just a copy. Like you could find my pieces on like Alibaba or whatever for like €2. But the entire collection. And I was like, oh, fuck. So this was the beginning. And then, of course, in the past 10 years, I think we tried to count last time. And it's like more than 200, something like this. So many different cases. Lower brand, higher brand, really different way. Hurts me a lot. Not hurts, but like drive me crazy. Not that I'm hurt in a way that, belongs to me. But more like, like very, very angry. But at the same time, always moving forward. Always like, you cannot fight this. It will always happen. So you better try to live with it with a bit of philosophy and keep moving forward, because I feel like my strength is my creativity and nobody can actually get into my brain. So, and also, I never saw a good copy that was well manufactured, that was actually like, oh, wow, this is amazing, like amazingly design. It's even better than what I do, and it's even better done than what we do.
Not threatened by any of these copies. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I mean, Hermes bag has been copied forever, and people are still buying Birkin. So not that I'm comparing myself just to Hermes, but you move forward.
Move forward. On to the next. Speaking of on to the next, you've done some really great, and your last collaboration, I have to say, I just felt like it was like, this is so out of the box and yet the most organic. For me, it makes sense with your brand. But so you've worked with Balenciaga, you've worked with Le Piano, and then the latest is with Christophe. So what do these collaborations do for you? Like, what do you take from them? Is it important for you to collaborate with other brands because you touch other areas or learn things? So talk to me about what do you get from these different things?
The way I see collaboration is that in my head is like, I'm going to do a product that I couldn't do without them. Like, otherwise there's no point. So for example, Byredo it's a true story. Ben and I, we are quite good friends. And he was asking for a chain for him. So I was trying to think, but like really as a personal matter, like do a chain for me. And then I was like, yeah, sure. And then I started to work on chain, and I loved them as well. So we were like, oh, that's cool that you actually did a jewelry I designed it to having him in mind, but I wanted to wear it as well. So we're like, maybe we should propose it as a collaboration together. But it's true that I think I wouldn't have done this chain if he didn't ask for it. So in terms of savoir-faire, I didn't really... It's not out of my box, but in terms of creativity, it was really like created on purpose for me. Christophe is different in a way that, creatively speaking, it's very me, but the technique, I would have never been able to do it. And I was dreaming to do cutlery for a while, and I think I said it very loud. Put
it out there in the world, yeah.
And they received a message, and they contacted me, and I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to do cutlery, but the cutlery is very long, very heavy to produce, very expensive to produce also the tool. So they were like, we have to think about it. We're not sure. Maybe you can do something else for the moment, like jewelry. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't see. For example, where do we, creatively speaking, where do we meet Christophe and me for jewelry? Because they have, in terms of DNA of the brand, they use so many designers.
Yes.
So it's very rich, but it's not, that there's no, how can I explain? And like Ben inspired me. Christophe is inspiring me through the technique they have and the history they have, but not through the
collaborations they've done in the past or the designer they've worked with in the past. I can't wait for it to see it when it comes to Dubai. I have to ask, the nipple box, like I have two, and fight my daughters, off to keep them. Like, my husband is like, do we need to? Yes, this stays. This is precious to me. Was there a polemique around it? Did you just like, I want to create this and like, let's body positivity, or let's see if people even recognize it, or,
Well, the story of the wooden box before it was called the nipple is that.
Did you even recognize? Did you ever intentionally? Okay, keep going.
No, I was like, I did a regular packaging, like beautiful but classic.
Yes.
And I realized that people actually throw it in the trash, which I do. I mean, when I buy a nice pair of shoes, I never keep the box. And I was a bit like, shit. I mean, even if it's a random box, I wish people would not put it in the trash because it's a lot of waste. And also these industries, like, it was kind of more of a ecological aspect that I had. And I went to Japan and I found on the market in Kyoto this nice wooden box, very small. And that I bought very cheap. And I was like, this could actually be an option too. If you have a box that is beautiful as an object and that is done in a material that in their mind, people, they don't throw it.
Sure.
And I was like, maybe we can work. So back to Paris, I contacted Matthias and Michault, my creative director from Studio. And I was like, I think we should work on a wooden box packaging. And they have done my logo, which is a double C inspired from one of my ring. And in the middle, there is kind of a shape, look like a pear or an avocado. And because it was the exaggeration of the mark on my jewelry, the poinçon, this is where it's coming from, this shape. But it hasn't always been, since the beginning, it was just a flat shape, like a two-dimensional. And then they were like, maybe this shape could actually become something in 3D and become the shape of your box. So we started to work on it. And when it arrived, I was like, it's a nipple. And they were like, no. And I was like, yes, it's a nipple. And I took it. And then it stayed. And they were like, maybe we should find another name. And I was like, no, we keep this name because I like the fact that, it's been so many different things. It's, of course, it's a brand done by a woman. It's body positive. It's so many different things. So, but I have to admit that sometimes in some country, I was asked maybe to change the name.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I won't ask which countries. What do you think is the biggest misconception about what you do or your career? Is it? What would you say is the people maybe misunderstand about you or your brand or what you do for a living?
I don't really feel I'm misunderstanding.
Okay.
It's more about what is actually the schedule of someone who has a company that sometimes is a bit like, you work in fashion, you work in luxury, and like I'm not spending my days like having cocktail with champagne and like amazing people, which I would love to.
Sure.
But clearly this is not, but this can be the speech of so many different persons having their own company. It's a crazy thing. I'm super happy to do it and it's an amazing adventure. But it's a vibe. Yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice that I'm not seeing my kids as much as I want. I'm not seeing my friends and my family as much as I want. And for something that I choose. And I'm not a victim. But sometimes, yes, it's like, it's not, I cannot be here because I finished too late. I cannot be here because I have to be in that place and that place. And it's for the business because, it's my way. I decided to follow it, but it's a lot of sacrifice. So it's more a question of this. I feel that, I don't feel like misunderstanding on a creative point of view. Usually I have, I'm happy people, even if they don't exactly, because it's not such a strong, there's not an intellectual message in my jewelry. It's very sensitive. So it's more about the shape, that it has to seduce you and you have to try it and it's morphing with your body. And also I like the idea that it's very nice when you don't wear it. So it becomes like an object, like a fetishist, almost like
it looks beautiful just sitting on my tabletop. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
So, but there's no, there's not a philosophical message behind it. So
okay. Well, when you talk about the workload and sacrificing time with kids or family, I was the same way, but I felt also that it was this idea of my children seeing that I love what I do, and that was a great example to them as well, is that you can be passionate about something. And you have your own identity.
Of course. I often get not I often, but I had this discussion in the past with my kids, like, oh, you never you never come to pick us up at school, for example. And then I was like, yeah, guys, if you want me to be happy, I have to do this. And once again, I put some boundary in my life. I spend time with them,
Of course.
during the evening, during the weekend, during holiday. But yeah, I'm not the mom who's picking them up at school for sure. And but there knows that. Yeah, I had this really clear discussion that it's part of my life and it's part of my balance. And I need this to be happy. And if you want me to pick you up every day at school, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm not going to be.
And then you're not going to be happy.
And you're not going to be happy. So they know that. Yeah, they know. And it's funny, like I think they understand pretty well now the importance of the work, and that it can bring you so much joy, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So looking forward, next 10 years, we've started again now with more of a consistent effort to go into the fine jewelry space. Do you have a 10-year plan? Are you still doing it instinctively, or like
No.
what's the strategy going forward, my dear?
So now we have a bit more than 30% working in the company. So I cannot do instinctively with 30%. They need to have somewhere to look at. So we are opening this store in Tokyo in a few weeks normally.
This is your third store?
It's my third store.
Third store.
Yes. So we are looking forward to expand in Japan, because it's a country that I really love, and I wish it's gonna have a good impact, because also to explore around Japan, maybe Korea. I mean, we'll see. Launching fine, even if it's we just launched during Last Couture Fashion Week, and I think it's a strong new chapter also for the brand. So already 2 big chapter. I'm sure in the next 10 years we're gonna have so much more, but we are thinking about it, of course, but also we try to be focused on what's coming in the next 12, 18 months already.
Yeah, already start with that. Yeah.
Right.
I want to ask you the 5 generic fashion questions that I ask everybody to kind of close out our little chat. So the first one is, what is the most precious object that you own, the thing that you take with you wherever you go, or the piece that you would, take with you if you were running out of a burning building? What is the thing that you cherish?
There's a jewelry that I never remove. So this is easy to take with me if something burns. And I think it would be the only thing with my kids that I would take. So it's my letters necklace with a letter of my 3 kids and me, their father. And then my 5 bracelet here. So it's the twin bracelet that I did when I was pregnant with the twin, but now I have one for each person of the family. So I think this I would take it. And otherwise, I have a small wooden sculpture from an artist that I have that probably I would take with me.
Okay. What's the artist name so I can look it up later?
Geb. I will send you.
Please do. Yeah, because I love your taste, as you know. The second question is, the industry is really quite expensive, the luxury space. Maybe I'll tailor this because you work in the jewelry space now. What is that piece that someone should really invest in? Like, that spend the money on it, don't, save up your pennies?
Well, today, a fine jewelry piece is for sure. I mean, the price of gold, when I started 10 years ago, you could, not exactly, but the kilo were average 35,000 euro. Now we are almost 100.
Wow.
So definitely.
Yeah.
You will, if you buy 18 karat gold, you will never lose money.
Okay.
For sure.
Noted. I'll tell my husband. Or I'll tell myself, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What trend will you never follow?
I don't care. I mean, I think my tests are, at the same time, they are the same, but they evolve. So there's no trend I will never follow. I don't think so. I mean, maybe some I will stop myself because I'm getting older, and I don't know. I mean, like, I don't wear crop top, for example, but I don't care people wearing crop top. So I don't, there's nothing I think I will never follow as long as I feel comfortable with it. It's very personal.
Very true. Who's your favorite designer, living or dead?
There are a few. Like there are Nicolas, of course, Miuccia Prada, Reka Kubo, Azaparati.
Okay.
Yves Saint Laurent.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
That's a good list. Then I guess my last question that I ask everybody is, what do you love most about fashion?
It's an amazing word. I mean, you meet so many different people coming from cinema, music, art. It's crazy, but it brings love and joy to people, and it's useless and useful at the same time. I mean, I'm happy because I'm in and out at the same. I still work for other fashion brands, and I've been working in the fashion industry for 20 years. So of course, it's a big part of me, and most of my friends also work in the industry. And sometimes it's nice also to realize, maybe because I've been working since 20 years, that it's also like you can step back sometimes, and it's important to step back. So it can consume you. So you have to be aware of what it can bring and what it can do to you, positive and negative way. So, but I think if you're well structured and healthy, it's an amazing word.
I want to ask you another question real quick. Tell me about a moment when you saw someone wearing one of your pieces. Do you remember maybe the first time, or was there a special moment where you saw someone maybe unexpectedly wearing one of your pieces?
Yeah, there is some stories. I remember when I went to the market on Boulevard Raspail, a very, very chic market on Sunday morning. Everything is organic. Everything is very expensive. And anyway, I was going to the market and buy some fish. And the girl who's serving me the fish has a ring. And I was like, oh my God, she had, like, very early in the brand. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, she has one of my ring. I was so like impressed because it was not somebody that I know, not a friend of a friend who had a discount. She actually bought no. And so I was telling my boyfriend, like, look. And he was like, oh, I love your ring. Where did you get it? And she was like, oh yeah, because now Bon Marché is open on Sunday. So when we had good day at the market, after the market, I'm going to Bon Marché, and this is where I got the ring. Oh. And this make me smile a lot. It was a very nice story. And yeah, I have a few stories. Like, we went to Japan with my son a year ago, and we arrived, we were jet lagged. So of course, when you arrive, you don't want to sleep. So we end in a cool izakaya restaurant recommended by a friend. But it's almost midnight, and they still serve with my, 8-year-old son. And suddenly, I don't know, there's a girl next to me, and she's covered with like jewelry from the brand. And I look at her a bit with like, I'm looking at, and she look at me, and she's like, how Japanese can be like, and she jumped in my arm, and my son is like, mommy, you know her? And I'm like, no, I don't know her. But it's, it's making link sometimes because people, they have an affection with jewelry. So they tell you.
Well, it's like a kindred spirit. When you see somebody wearing all of your pieces, there's got to be some sort of a connection there.
Yeah. It's nice. It's really rewarding. It's nice. Now I have my son sometimes telling me like, oh, look, mom, like in the train or in the street, they recognize the pieces. So they tell me, or if they're not with me, they take a picture with their friend or with their nanny, and they send it to me. It's very cute.
Oh, I love that they're supporting you in that way. That's so adorable.
They want to wear, actually.
Are they
like
starting
my
to wear?
twin bracelet? They want to have one when I'm dead. So I say maybe before, maybe for your 18th birthday you're gonna have one. So yeah, they are always like they have a letter, all of them. And my oldest son actually borrowed a ring because he really wanted to have a ring, but they lost it at school after one day. So I was like, okay, we're gonna
put a pin in this until you're a little older. Yeah. Oh my God, Charlotte, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Jessica. Merci, avec plaisir.